Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Trading Chief. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I cover biopharmaceutical stocks that have upcoming FDA reviews or biologics license applications under review by the FDA. I also cover upcoming stock mergers. In today's video, we want to take a look at Biogen, or ticker BIIB. And just a quick little background on them. Biogen Incorporated is a biopharmaceutical company which engages in discovering, developing, and delivering therapies for neurological and neurodegenerative diseases. It's got a whole host of drugs that they already have out on the market. Duhelm for the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. They're currently developing a new Alzheimer's drug called Leqembi, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. So, the first news article that we're going to look at is from January 6th of 2023, and we'll just go to it. It says FDA approves Leqembi under the accelerated approval pathway for the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. And then it says accelerated approval is based on phase 2 data showing a reduction in amyloid beta plaques in early Alzheimer's disease patients treated with Leqembi. Treatment with Leqembi should be initiated in patients with mild cognitive impairment or mild dementia stages of disease, the population in which treatment was initiated in clinical trials. So this is they have an EC partnership. So EC is another biopharmaceutical company, but they've partnered with Biogen on this one. I don't know if they're the manufacturer or if they just help develop the drug or whatever the case is, but I haven't looked that far into it. Today announced that under the accelerated approval pathway, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved lecanemab, RMB, brand name in the U.S. is Leqembi, for 100 milligrams per milliliter injection for intravenous use. A humanized immunoglobulin gamma 1, a monoclonal antibody directed against aggregated soluble and insoluble forms of amyloid beta for the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. The approval is based on phase 2 data that demonstrated that Leqembi reduced the accumulation of AB plaque in the brain, a defining feature for Alzheimer's disease. Using the recently published data from the large global confirmatory phase 3 clinical trial, Clarity AD, EC will work quickly to file a supplemental biologics license application to the FDA for approval under the traditional pathway. So there will not be, I can't show you any phase 3 data because it's a supplemental biologics license applications, meaning that the drug has already been approved by the FDA, and supplemental is just saying that they're going to use the drug for a new treatment. So that's pretty much what it is. So there's that one. The next news article we're going to look at is also on January 6th, and it's this one right here. It says EC submits supplemental biologics license applications to the FDA for traditional approval of Leqembi for the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. The submission of traditional approval follows FDA accelerated approval of Leqembi on the same day and is based on data from the confirmatory phase 3 Clarity AD clinical trial. And then it says, today announced EC has submitted a biologics license application to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration supporting the conversion of the accelerated approval of Leqembi, 100 milligrams per milliliter injection, which we already talked about. And it goes on to talk about insoluble forms of amyloid beta approved under the accelerated approval pathway by the FDA on January 6, 2023. So there's that. We're going to take a look at March 5th. Just bear with me. I got to scroll way up. They drop a lot of news all the time. So, well, whether good news, bad news, whatever the case is, news that don't even apply to the company in most cases. Uh, Next one's going to be March 5th. And it says Biogen EC's Alzheimer's drug Leqembi gets FDA priority review for traditional approval. And then if we come over here, it says the U.S. Food and Drug Administration granted priority review to Biogen's application seeking traditional approval of Alzheimer's disease therapy Leqembi from its current status of accelerated approval. At the start of this year, the FDA granted accelerated approval to Biogen and EC's lecanemab to treat patients with a mild cognitive impairment of mild dementia stage of disease and confirmed presence of AB pathology. The accelerated approval was based on data from the phase 2 trial. The FDA accepted Biogen's supplemental biologics license application for Leqembi, 100 milligram per milliliter injection for intravenous use. The agency is expected to make a decision by July 6th. So you need to be this July 6th is their PDUFA date, which is your Prescription Drug Users Fee Act. But you need to pay close attention to Biogen on June 9th, because that's when the FDA is going to hold an AdCon. Pretty much, they're going to have people vote on whether or not they think this drug is beneficial or if it meets the requirements or whatever the case is based off of the data that they get. I generally like to cover the phase 3 data just because that's what the company submits to the FDA to review, along with like the statistical analysis and charts and stuff from the patients. But unfortunately, I can't find that because it's a supplemental uh, biologics license application. So we'll continue on with the news article. Under priority review, the FDA's goal is to take action within 6 months compared to 10 months under standard review. The company noted that the sBLA contains confirmatory data from a phase 3 study dubbed Clarity AD, which will be evaluated by FDA to decide if it will convert the accelerated approval to the drug to a traditional approval. Biogen said the FDA is currently planning to hold an advisory committee to discuss the application, but has not provided a date yet. That date is now 9 June, the 9th of June. Lecanemab is also under priority review in China, Japan, and under review in the EU. So EC acts as the lead for lecanemab development and regulatory filings. See, there you go. Globally, with both EC and Biogen commercializing and co-promoting the drug. So there's that. So the next one we're going to take a look at is on May 1st. Again, just bear with me. I got to scroll through all this stuff. This is Biogen up as Guggenheim upgrades citing full approval of Leqembi. So after 3 straight sessions of gains, Biogen shares continued to rise in the pre-market Monday as Guggenheim upgraded the biotech, citing full FDA approval of Alzheimer's therapy Leqembi developed with EC. So last week, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator Chiquita Brooks LaSure said that her agency would cover the anti-amyloid agent in the event of a full U.S. FDA approval. So CMS will buy the treatment for Alzheimer's patients if it gets full approval through the FDA. That's basically what this article is saying. It said in January, the FDA granted accelerated approval of Leqembi for Alzheimer's, and the agency is expected to decide on its full approval by July 6th. We expect Leqembi to receive full approval uh, in Alzheimer's dementia, PDUFA on July 6th, and broad CMS coverage. Guggenheim analysts wrote upgrading Biogen to buy from neutral and raising its price target to $350 from $270. Citing a potential launch of depression therapy, Zuranolone, the company developed with Sage Therapeutics, Guggenheim expects the oral once-daily therapy will mark Biogen's footprint in psychiatry and represents a large commercial opportunity in the long run. So the rest of it doesn't even matter. It's not applied. It's not applicable to what we're talking about. So the next news article we're going to look at is from May 8th. And it is... Shoot, did I write it down wrong? I'm sorry, May 18th. It's this one. It just says Biogen announces Health Canada has accepted the new drug application for Leqembi in early Alzheimer's. And then the last one, we're just going to read this news article right here. This is Senator Wyden presses HHS and CMS on access to new Alzheimer's therapies. So, right. Basically, same thing as the title up here. Says that policy is known as coverage with evidence development. CMS said it would allow coverage of new Alzheimer's therapies such as Biogen's monoclonal antibody Leqembi. Medicare providers and patients need timely, critical information from CMS about how a registry of other CED studies can be put in place for Alzheimer's disease and how providers will be able to enroll their patients in all areas of the country without excessive burden. Physicians who administer these medications need a simple, direct way to submit data and provide treatment to qualifying patients. CMS has indicated that more widespread coverage of Alzheimer's monoclonal antibody treatments could come once they receive full approval. That could happen for Leqembi by July 6th. And here it is. A FDA advisory committee meeting on the application is scheduled for June 9th. So June 9th, pay close attention because based off of what the AdCom decides is more than likely which way the FDA will go on July 6th. And the FDA, I've seen this happen as well where the PDUFA date is, further down the road and then they get a good AdCom review and they go ahead and approve it within that week, the same week. They'll get an early approval. I'm not saying that will happen, especially with it dealing with Alzheimer's and there already being an Alzheimer's drug out there by Biogen, to be exact, right? But there's a high probability that it'll be approved and then I don't think it'll go all the way to June 9th. I think they'll approve it early if the AdCom goes good. I'm sorry, July 6th if the AdCom goes good. And this is an exclusive from Eli Lilly, which is developing its own monoclonal antibody for Alzheimer's. Donomab said in April he believes CMS would change policy and cover new Alzheimer's therapies like any other drug. The problem with this, right, is this drug that that Biogen is developing. Price target on it's $26,500 for them to inject this into. So I think it'll be out of reach for a lot of people, but at the same time, I think it's going to be one of those where it's Alzheimer's is so widespread across the country that the Biogen is ultimately going to pop and run off of this. I think if this is approved, if it gets a good adcom, I think you're going to see this thing jump well over 310, and then come the FDA review, I think it'll go further over 320, somewhere between 320 and 350. So, just my thoughts on this. I'm definitely gonna buy a few shares and just see where it goes and take my profits and run away. So, all right, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching. Consider hitting that like and subscribe button, um, and let me know in the comments if you're gonna buy this or what your thoughts are on it, and come check me out in the Discord. All right, thanks. Have a good night.